This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by SuperTech U. Did you know 85% of financial success comes from soft skills abilities and only 15% from our technical abilities? SuperTech U was created by longtime restoration pros Eric Sprague and Larry Wilberton. Their daily 3 to 5 minute videos train your entire company on the soft skills they need to make your business thrive. Plus, your entire team earns IICRC CEC credits, all for about the cost of 1 tank of gas. To sign up, head to supertechu.com/CRMag to get your discount for being a loyal listener to the Restoration Today podcast. That's supertechu.com/CRMag to sign up. Hey there, Restorers. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Kinyon and Natalie Martin. They are from Blackfoot, Idaho. They own Restore Rite, and they serve kind of an interesting community. They have kind of both ends of the spectrum when it comes to income, and they also have some really cool things that they do to help attract talent. So that's where I want to start the conversation. But I actually really want to start with having you guys introduce yourselves and Restore Rite, kind of how long you've been in the industry and all of that. Thank you for joining me. That was a whole lot in an intro. I might have to completely redo that intro. That was a lot. Anyway, or leave it and be crazy. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Natalie and Kinyon, thank you for joining me. So tell us a little bit about your company and your background.
So we've been in business for 6 years now. When you think of Idaho, you probably think of potato farmers, and that's 100% my background. My dad still is a potato farmer. I grew up moving pipe for potatoes, harvesting potatoes, and ironically, it's still my favorite food, and it's probably not hers. So there's a little bit of discussion that comes up sometimes. It's like, what do you want tonight?
Baked potatoes.
Not potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just kind of like how we got into it, I guess, is pretty different. So I ended up getting a job working for a nuclear facility that's out here in our region. And it was a really boring job. It was really a lot of red tape, 4 days on, 4 days off, but it paid really, really well. And so on my 4 days off, we just started looking at what else could we do. And an opportunity came up to start a restoration company. And there's a lot of transferable skills from being a nuclear operator to, like managing contamination and keeping contamination out of a certain area. And we just kind of jumped into it. And that was 6 years ago. And within 3 months of starting this, we had to choose between being a Homer Simpson and being a restorer. So that's kind of just how it rolled a little bit.
Natalie, how are you feeling going through all these changes? We're starting a restoration company. You have 3 months then to decide, because it took off so fast, whether you're keeping the full-time salaried safe job or you're just going for it. So how did you feel through all this?
It was kind of scary. We had, our twins were 2 and then we had a baby. And so it was kind of like scary. And my parents have always had like jobs that like they've got a boss and stuff, like they never they're not big into risks or anything. So my parents are very like, are you sure? He's got a really good job out there, you've got benefits, you've got retirement. And Kinyon's like, we only need 5 jobs a month and we'll be able to pay our bills. I'm like, okay, you got this. Like, if this is what you want to do, then let's do it. Let's just do it. And so it's kind of scary, but at the same time kind of exciting. So he's like, I can do it. I know you can do it. So I had good faith in him. So I was like, I'll take care of the kids and you got this. So
that's the kind of wife an entrepreneur needs. It's like, go, you've got this. That's
yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. So how big is the company today? How many employees do you have today?
We are between probably like 20, 24 employees. We finished around 3 million in revenue. So at 6 years, it's so she says that she was part of the kids now as the company. Well, that was pretty short-lived because I just needed her help like really soon. So like her bookkeeping was really bad and she stepped in and she handles all of that now.
Well, yeah, thanks to John at Violand. He was like, hey, you gotta get in here and you gotta do this. Can you do this? And I'm like, Uh-huh. Okay.
We went from
Yeah.
like keeping track of like our
Bank
diaper
statements.
management, like how many diapers do we have left? Can we make it to Costco? To like, all right,
Yeah.
what did we actually do this month and everything?
Yeah.
So none of this absolutely wouldn't have happened without her support, her encouragement. So
I love it. Okay, so tell me about the demographics of your area. Kind of offline beforehand, you were talking about there's a wide range. So what does your service area look like?
So we're in Southeast Idaho, so we're pretty rural compared to what I guess is normal for most people, right?
Mhm.
Our town is 20,000 people. Our county, which in Idaho most people go by counties, our county's 40,000, and our service range is roughly 3-hour drive one way. That's roughly 200 miles that we'll go to service some people. There's a lot of second homes, third homes here. We service an area called Sun Valley. It's very elite. You know, we worked for some awesome celebrities and some really snotty, wealthy people. You know, we've got it both. And then we also live right next door to a reservation, and so we've dealt with leadership on the reservation down to, you know, just kind of the more oppressed residents there, you know, people that don't have a lot. So big range of customers we serve, big range of policies too,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
bet.
So we've had to learn a lot because moving pipe and potatoes, you don't really pay attention to, you know, that kind of stuff, policies, contracts, limits and stuff.
So what do insurance policies work the same on the reservation? I mean, I know that they're self-governed, right? They probably have their own self-government on that property. So are they still buying insurance like we do, or does that work a little bit differently? Do they have different coverages? What does that look like?
So there is insurance, and there is traditional insurance for those that buy homes on the reservation and stuff. However, a lot of the homes are handed down through generations,
Okay.
and so they're owned outright, and then they don't get insurance on the home. And so there's a lot of homes that aren't insured, and then in that case, we deal with the tribe. So the tribe has its leadership, its chiefs, and its directors, you could say. And let's say if our resident has a house that caught fire and they need some help cleaning up, they can submit a claim to the tribe, and then we have to have licenses with the tribe and submit a bid, and they may get other bids and then work with them and get payment to take care of some of their residents. So the tribe's like usually really good to work with, but just like anybody, sometimes I think they get tired of, like, hey, this is the 5th time we've taken care of Mrs. Bearclaw, so she needs to kind of like show some support on her end and come up with some funds because we know she can, you know. So there's I don't know, there's just a lot of like careful decisions that you have to make, because we have done work. You do have sympathy that comes into place on some of these people's homes. You go in, and especially if you see kids, you're like, hey, let's just get these guys taken care of, we'll figure it out on the backside. Well, sometimes that just leads to, we didn't get paid anything on that job,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of, I don't know, you can only do that so much. So
did you have to work hard to build relationships early on with tribal leadership? I mean, I know I've talked to somebody on the forensic kind of biohazard side of our world, right? And I don't know if you guys do that kind of stuff, but especially based on religious beliefs and things like that. I know that can kind of come into play. So did you have to work on those relationships before you were allowed onto the reservation and to do these jobs?
Yeah, so I kind of had a little bit of an in, because our family farms on the reservation, and so
Okay.
they have a lot of ground they lease from the tribe, and we were able to talk to a few people out there as far as we got licensed on there. And it wasn't too hard, but the leadership on the tribe is changing a lot. They have really big goals. They have a big casino here, and so people are always changing their roles. And so we've gone through times where we'll get several jobs with the tribe because of our relationships with who we have out there, to where we won't get any jobs through the tribe, and it just kind of depends on what's happening on their end and their lives. So it's 100% relationship based working with the tribe for sure.
So I feel like this is kind of soft skills 101, but what kind of training do you do with your people to be ready to go to Sun Valley and to be able to go to lower income areas, whether it's in Blackfoot or on the reservation or whatever that may be, so they can relate to anybody and go into any situation?
I guess we've been working really hard to try to diversify our own workplace, so that we can pull different people from different backgrounds that actually work for us. We have a couple, well, maybe only one now person that she's from the tribe, and she has family there. And so we try to have them involved on those jobs because they'd be very familiar. It's a very small community. She'll know someone that they know or even be related to, right? So we just try to build familiarity with those ones. And then Sun Valley, it's very much a little more structured as far as like, okay, before we go to this house, we pick who's going and we have a discussion. Hey, we're going to let's just say we're going to Bruce Willis's house today. We need to be respectful of his things. Don't get a picture of him. Don't yell for a selfie, right? We have had to sign non-disclosures before, saying, hey, if you work on this house, you cannot discuss whose house it is with other people. They don't want it out there. So there's a lot more red tape, and a lot of times we're not really dealing with Bruce. We're dealing with his manager, his local management here, right? A lot of them have local management people that manage their homes and stuff. So we go through the rules. We try to outline expectations that way, and then just have a full. And most of those jobs in Sun Valley, they're not emergency response related. They're more like, hey, we have this issue going on in our house because we only go to it once every 3 years, and now we've found a problem, and so there's a lot of pre-planning that goes into it and discussing scope, a lot of contracts written, timelines set up, and so it's a lot different division than dealing with water damage even in our local area. So
okay, so Natalie, outside of the bookkeeping, what else are you involved in the business? Kind of what are your roles and how are you? Well, let's start there. Then I have more. We'll start there.
Mostly the bookkeeping, and then I do like a few reports. There's like a couple like odds and ends that I do, that like dealing with like bankers and loans and stuff like that. So like mostly just like the financials.
Did you have a background in that before?
No, not at all. Yeah. So John was like, QuickBooks does a training online, and so I did that. And then I've got our accountant, he helped me. And then one of this girl that he knew, he's like, hey, she's really good at this, you should get with her. And she owns a local gym here. And so she actually helped train me a ton too. And so it's just kind of been like, you learn as you go.
Perfect. Welcome. Mom.
Natalie has a role that's not defined, that's very much culture related to, though.
Okay.
She's always talking about what do they need, what's an activity we can do, or why is that person so entitled? Why does that person feel like they need that?
The biggest thing though, like it's like stressful handling money and things like on this scale, you know, like it's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Well, just like I'm like I could make one tiny mistake, but the thing that like really keeps me up at night is the employees like, is so and so happy? What can we do to make this person happy? What, or also it's like celebrating with them. Like I remember one of our employees drove up to our house, and he had just gotten a pickup, and Kenyon's like, he just bought that pickup, and I was like, are you serious? Like I about started crying just because I'm like, that's so cool that, you know, he works here and he's able to like buy this cool pickup that he was excited about. Like those wins are like super special to me. And so I have a good relationship like with like the management, like the group. Yeah. And they're like, I mean, they're what help keep the place running, you know. So my biggest thing is I just want them all to be happy and feel like they're celebrated and doing a good job too. So
Our
So
workforce is probably like 60% female too.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. So what are the kinds of things that you do with your team to kind of keep them engaged and happy, kind of company culture type stuff?
I would think one of the best things we did was we implemented Slack, you know, and so we improved communication through Slack, and that helped people kind of be able to be recognized more easily instead of like waiting for a time when everyone is in the office to recognize someone doing something right. It can go on Slack, and it just made it easier to celebrate the wins that way. So just improving communication, I think, was a big tool.
Yeah.
That's not common in construction, you know.
We have a kudos board that we do every month too. So whenever somebody does something awesome, they write it up on the board, and at the end of the month, they get $50. We draw on, or they vote on it, I think. But our managers are really good too. Like they do a lot of their own recruiting. So it's like a reflection of their leadership, I think. So really it goes to them, like their hard work, I think, there and their leadership. So
yeah,
we're pretty lucky to have such awesome people up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so good segue. What are some of your recruiting ways? I know that you have like the little business card that I shared on social forever ago, but what else do you do to help attract people, and how are your project managers and your leadership finding people?
So
they just do. They
we
just
do have, yeah, we have those cards, right? And they're called creeper cards. Everyone's kind of hesitant to hand it out because they don't want to come off as creepy to someone like, hey, here's my number, give us a call. Right?
Okay.
But I think you have to be really active in today's recruiting strategy.
Yeah.
You know, it's no longer a Facebook ad, someone coming to look at it. People are getting recognized daily through social media on their achievements, and they're constantly getting that release of dopamine. And so I think being active about it and saying, hey, you were super attentive to my needs today. If you're ever looking for a change of environment, come talk to us here. You know, we have a weekly discussion on our Facebook page called Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
So we always, you know, let's talk about it. And we always say, hey, if you're looking for a change of place, you know, come look here. And then also we've had several, we don't have a problem really getting people apply, but we've been really diligent in calling references too, because we're finding that a lot of people that are applying aren't always team players. And so we're being really selective about who we bring in. So I think
it's stalking them.
Yeah.
We've
we
Facebook. Really big on that. That's been a huge.
You find stuff and it's like, oh,
like, and some things it's like, oh, I could see on this person's social media, they're not going to get along with this person because we could tell already it wasn't going to be a good fit that way, or
strong personalities.
So it's a lot of homework.
I think the biggest thing to be able to recruit anyone though is taking care of who you have first. and then they do their own recruiting. You know, we've noticed the people in our staff that are like the A players, they're actively recruiting all the time because they get our core values, they get the vision of what we wanted to accomplish, and they're always like, hey, come join us, come be a part of this. And most are, well, trying to think of who isn't a recruit. I gotta.
Oh, who actually like applied and came in versus who was literally recruited in by somebody?
Yeah,
Well,
I can't
one
think of.
person applied because they liked our wrap on our vehicles.
Yeah, who's that?
Well,
I remember the application.
I'd say, but
Yeah, but it was Tim. Tim saw our rap and liked it, you know.
I thought it was someone else.
But I would bet 90% of our workforce is all referral based. Of hey, I like working here, and that's where we have found the talent is through other people, not through, you know, hiring ads or anything like that.
The hiring ads don't work here, I would say. Like Indeed and things like that, like they haven't been, because our area is it's such a small community. So it's kind of like everybody here knows everyone or of some, you know, it's a completely different ballgame here than like the bigger cities. So it's kind of like, oh, you have a son that just got home from school. Like, so it's kind of stuff like that. But
so what do you think keeps people at Restore Rite when maybe there are other positions, maybe like the nuclear plant, which I'm sure you have to have specialized skills for as well. But if you're talking about how much that pays versus restoration, temperatures, bugs, grossness in restoration, right? So how do you get people to stay?
We focus a lot on work, family management a little bit. So we have, I like to say that we have good flexibility for people and their families.
Okay.
Like they have things that come up. We don't have, like we don't have a set amount of sick days someone can have, you know, we don't have a set amount of things like that. So, and we document when they take those, and obviously there has been circumstances that gets out of control and the discussion needs to be had. But for the most part, everyone who works with us wears several hats. They're a coach, you know, on their other days, and they have a passion for coaching, and we've found that resonates really well with our culture. And so we've tried to extend a lot of flexibility so that people can still have things that they're passionate about and do things here as well. When you go to the site or to corporate, you have to give up a lot of those things because, you know, when I was at the site, it was 4 days on, 4 days off, doesn't matter what. And so there would be times where I couldn't make to church, you know, to my kids' church things, or they weren't in sports yet, but had they been in sports, I'd be missing those things. So I think and there are circumstances where I think some employees maybe feel that the work home life balance isn't what they want it to be. But we're always trying to coach them to teach them, like, here's how you can turn it off so you can go home, because that is sometimes a problem. People learning how to turn it off when they go home, or sometimes they're not paid what they want to be paid, or they have a problem balancing their own budget. So we've brought in banking institutions to help teach personal finance to some of the employees, because we felt, you know, if they can have a better home life, then their work life will be better too. So we've been trying to bring in some other skills from outside to help them apply it to their home life. Has been one strategy we've been working on. So
that's a good one. I know there's a restoration company that's done like Financial Peace University for their people and brought coaches in to do stuff like that. And that kind of stuff alone can make a huge difference. Okay. So I'm curious with the flexibility, how on call works. Like, do your people they just know that, yep, we're flexible, but if I'm on call, I'm on call?
Yeah. So we set it up month by month basis. And it's a 3-tier on-call schedule: first call, second, third call type thing.
Okay.
And they know their weeks they're on call. they do have things that come up. And so again, with Slack, we're able to have open communication and be like, hey, Tim's on call, but he's with his sister at the hospital. Can someone else come and step in? And I can't think of a time that no one's ever came in and helped out, and there's obviously been circumstances where it's like, hey, this is all hands on deck circumstance. The only people that would face any kind of I guess, what would you call it? Like a performance correction meeting would be those who are on call that don't have an excuse and didn't show up, but that's never happened with us. So pretty good volunteer basis with the group we have. And I think a lot of it is trying to set those expectations up front, So we've recently hired an HR, part-time HR guy, and he comes in 3 hours a week. And we're always looking through company policies, job descriptions, having check-ins with all the employees just to reiterate expectations from them that we have for them and expectations that they have for us, and going over those things. So
okay, so we can wrap it up pretty soon here, but Natalie, I'm curious how you've managed or balanced being part of a growing company, being part of it, and then having 4 small, very small children. And it's a 24/7 business too. It's not like you're open 9 to 5 and then you get to close the off hours. Like, that's not a thing. So how's the balance been? How have you done it?
It's been a challenge, but if you're not challenged, you're not growing, right?
Right.
So it's been interesting. I usually try to wake up pretty early, like 6. Like this morning, I was working at 6 this morning before I had to get my kids up for school, or I'm working at like 10 o'clock at night. It's helped a ton having our office manager do all the payables, so I don't have to deal with any of that. So there have been some things I've had to pass on to her, and it's been a huge help. Mm-hmm. But man, the kids are busy, but also it's like you can't you can't put business on hold because your kids are right in front of your face. So it's been hard, but at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way. So it's been good. And Kenny and I actually, surprisingly for husband and wife, I feel like we work pretty well together. Like, we've met some couples that are like, oh, I could never work with my spouse ever. But really, it hasn't been anything crazy. I think that we're like this, we're the same on the disc. Yeah. We're like the exact same.
Really?
Person. And who was it, Patty, that did it for us? And she's like, I've never seen this before. Yeah. And so that was pretty crazy. But with the kids, they know like that there's some things that I've got to do, and the older kids, they understand and they get it. And right now they're at school, so it's nice. The summer is going to be a little bit more challenging, but I think they'll be able to help with the baby and kind of keep him entertained. But conference calls are interesting, as you can see. But just trying to work before the kids get up and after they've gone to bed.
I think that there's moments where just normally she's like, I hate this. I hate that I can't be there for my kid because I have to get these reports done. And then on the other side, the kids will come home and be like, hey, we saw Restore Rite at the school today, or we saw Restore Rite on this shirt. And it balances out, so the kids know that that's what we do, and we help them by doing this thing. So I just think it's just part of it. Yeah. So,
and I'm like, really, what else would I be doing? I don't know.
Should probably have 9 more dogs and some goats.
9 more dogs.
Give me all the animals. Give me all the things to take care of. I feel like if I'm not taking care of something, I'm missing out somewhere. So, I mean, I don't know. But it's been challenging, but it's also been rewarding at the same time. Some days are obviously a lot more stressful than others, but I wouldn't have it any other way, and I really don't know what else I would be doing. So
I think a big resource for us too, though, is Violand. Like, I think everyone needs a resource to like bounce ideas off of, to get kind of like a checkup, like how am I doing, because she'll always be like, I'm sucking today, I didn't get this right, and then
I'm always scared that I'm messing something up because I wasn't trained, I didn't go to school for any of this, or I didn't know like 10 years ago that we would be owning a company, or you know what I mean? So it's just kind of thrown into it. So John Bioland has helped me a ton. And then our accountant, I've got him on speed dial. I'm sure he's been really great to me too. So, and he's always reassuring. He's like, no, you're doing great. You're not messing anything up. So it's good to hear that, because you feel like you're dropping the ball somewhere as a mom, as a business owner, trying to do all the things. So it's just, and Kinyon helps a lot too. He knows, he can see where I feel like I'm falling short, and he'll pick up and he'll be like, it's okay. Like, we got this, we can do this, or we can do that. So it's good to be able to do this as a team too. So that helps.
But everyone needs that third party.
They do.
You need someone that can hold you accountable, can kind of help you, show you your wins, show you where your strengths, because as you were talking with Restoration One, even just came out a few weeks ago, right? There's a lot of work, and if you can recruit the people, then you're going to have more work, and then your current workforce, their job descriptions don't line up anymore because they're outdated, right? And so you constantly need to be looking at that, and then having that resource outside of your own organization, going, hey, what can we do here? So I would encourage everyone to look for a mentor or a coach or a consultant, whatever they want to call themselves in today's day, right? So
I'm guessing most people who are watching this know exactly who Violand is, and there are other coaches in the industry as well, and lots of resources to go to. And if you're growing, you don't stay the same very long. That's kind of what you said. So you're constantly having to evolve and change and grow yourself, push. Yeah.
And
you get comfortable, and then
you get something new. Yeah.
Get comfortable, get uncomfortable again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to add before we wrap it up? Thank you for all the wisdom. We covered a lot. That's fun. I love it.
No, we're super honored to think that, that you thought we could add some value here in a little tiny corner of Southeast Idaho. So if you're ever coming through, reach out, Natalie knows where all the cool hiking spots are. I'm not much.
Yeah.
But
you know where all the boating is. But.
Yeah.
The boating, I'm there for that. I also really want to see SOS's new headquarters, because they look
amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. John got to come and check it out, and they've done a really good job there. It's pretty awesome. Kinyon finds any chance he can any excuse to get in there. I'm like, where are you? He's like, oh, I'm just over here at SOS. I'm like, what are you doing?
Wednesday's a good day. A lot of times there's cinnamon rolls on Wednesdays.
Oh.
So
he sneaks in there.
When you schedule your flights to come out, make sure you're coming through on a Wednesday. But
and I'm here for Taco Tuesdays too. So
hit them both.
Yes, that's right. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you at a show or a conference soon.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.